What's up, everybody? Giancarlo here. Why am I making this video? I just am, right? It's been a while since I've played competitively. Obviously, I've been commentating, but I've gotten that itch again recently. I played in two regionals. I didn't play fully. I would just usually just play a few rounds and then drop, just to kind of get my toes wet. But it's I don't know. Webcams are kind of hard for me to want to play, but I'm kind of like gearing up for an IRO regional that I'm gonna want to play in. Probably MomoCon. So it's just been nice to like dip my toes back in the competitive scene, play test a little more competitively, and play in regionals. Even though they're just webcam, like they're still fine, right? It's still good testing. Still had some really good games on that. So with that being said, man, Dragon Ball is just such a good game. I mean, playing One Piece, playing Battle Spirits, playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, it's just not. It just doesn't hit like Dragon Ball. I'm not gonna lie. I know it's just like an opinion, but it's my opinion, right? So, even though those games are cool and I like certain aspects about every other card game, at least the ones I've been playing in the past few months, it's like coming back to Dragon Ball. It's just immediately like, oh yeah, this is the best one, like right. So. Fun fact is, I'm on hiatus until May from today. I think in 2 days I'm going to Virginia for 3 weeks to build an oil pipeline. Funnily enough, I'm going on a little side quest, so I'm on hiatus until May, which sucks. I'm gonna miss the Hill Twins silver card tournament, which I really really wanted to go to, but I mean, when duty calls, you got to do what you got to do. And once May hits, we have MomoCon, which is an IRO regional. I think we have a webcam regional in May as well. And then I also have a One Piece regional, which I know I said Dragon Ball's better, but we still play One Piece. Still a fun game. But I just wanted to, basically get my toes wet, make a little video, make a deck profile. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I played. It's been a long time since I've made an in-depth deck profile. I made the joke one in the Hell group that you already know what it does, which was funny. But point is, this is the game of deck I've been playing at the past two regionals, and it's been performing very well. I think the deck is extremely strong. I got to give a shout out to Mike Rentucci, who helped me with my ratios, helped me build it, gave me some tech options. Shout out to my boy Zach from Hermit Style, who did the same thing. It's deck building usually is a collaborative process. It's not usually like one guy builds a deck, right? A lot, especially Dragon Ball is a game with teams. A lot of the times, it's a team comes together to build a deck, which is really what the Gamma deck was. Even shout out to Trevor, basically all the Hermit Style guys. We sat down one day and built a Gamma deck, and then we all put in our little ideas, and it accumulated. I think it's one of the strongest decks in the meta. And of all the matchups, of course they're bad. It's not tier zero, right? So there are bad matchups, but you have a ton of good matchups. So Red SS4 Gogeta is a good matchup. Sin Shenron is fair. I don't think Sin is hard. It's a very fair matchup. They really need, if they don't have their Almighty Resistance, it's almost impossible for them to kill you. And even if they have it, you can still you're still fine. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't automatically die just because they Almighty your Floodgate. You just got to be smart with the way you place your Floodgates. And then 21 is the new 21 is rough. You need to sideboard for 21. That's 100% correct. If you're unprepared, that matchup is probably going to be a loss. But if you are prepared, you'll do fine. I mean, it's not that hard. You have to play a certain way and you have to sideboard a certain way, and you're good to go. Kai is not like a super tier one deck, but it's a deck that people like playing. Supreme Kai of Time with the new cards, or it's a new-ish at this point. They've been out for about 2 months. That's pretty hard. It's a really strong aggro deck that's really good at stopping your floodgates. And again, just because your floodgates get negated, which they're going to get negated most of the time, it doesn't mean you auto lose, right? You just have to continue to play in a smart way, right? Trunks Cheat is easy as long as you charge energy on turn one. Trunks Cheat is not that hard. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Trunks Cheat is a fine matchup. It's very slow. Both decks have gotten a ton of new tools recently. Trunks got the new Vegito counterplay. That's a floodgate. It got the new Majin Buu. That's like a 1 mana 30k double strike. It got the Z Leader. Like, it's gotten a ton of new cards, and Gamma's gotten a ton of new cards. So the matchup has changed from what it used to be. It was just like slam Trunks pass, slam Trunks pass. But it's still not really that hard. I think it's good for Gamma. And then you have like little random decks. Gamma's not super strong against hand destruction, so if you play against hand destruction 21, it can get rough. But like that's fine. I'm not gonna prepare for some random hand destruction deck. Um, you can't prepare for everything, and I'm not. If I lose the hand destruction, okay, fine. Like so be it. I'm not. The deck's not popular. I don't expect to see it, and if I do, oh well. I guess I'll go X1 at some point. Like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so there's basically just a ton of matchups in the meta that you have a good match. Beerus is good. Beerus is good. SS4 is good. You just have a ton of good matchups. Gamma used to be weak against blue decks, but now it's actually really good against blue decks, which is funny how the tide shifted. But anyway, we'll get into the deck now. All right, so we'll start with the leader, right? Gamma leader, you already know what it does. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so obviously you swing, draw, awaken at 4 life or 2 cost unison on the back. Pick up 3 androids, blue androids, put down up to 3 blue androids, draw 1, and then you can only activate android cards. Obviously, this cuts us off from a ton of juice. There's obviously so many good cards that we would like to play with that 3 energy, but we can't because it has to be an android. But they've done a really good job of like giving us android cards to play. I just gotta say, man, Gamma, it's just my favorite leader. I know I post about Gamma all the time to the point where like some people are probably tired of it, but like I only play 2 decks, Gamma and Pan. When I come back, like I said, from my side quest, there's a lot of decks I want to try: Majin Vegeta, Cumber, maybe even Supreme Kai of Time. There's a ton of decks I want to play, but right now, like I'm just keeping it simple. So anyway, you guys, again, you do know what the leader does. It's been out for quite a while, so we'll start with 1 cost. We have our defending our friends. I need a winner if someone wants to hit me up. So this is a new card. Came out in I want to say the last set of promos, and it absolutely is changing the way we play the game. So it's an android. Super good that this is a 17. If this was some random like Krillin, some Earthling instead of some android, I don't think this deck would be as good. That's how powerful this card is. So if you have a Z battle card, a Z leader, or 3Z energy, auto, your opponent, when they attack with a non-leader, they have to bottom deck a card from their hand. Super strong. Not like a lot. 1 card is not a lot. Frisco had always equated this type of floodgate to me activating a Sensu Bean, basically being a 20k leader because it's very similar. But the fact that this is also a 1 cost negate, the fact that early game that tax might not be a lot, but in the late game that tax is a lot. If my opponent has 6 cards in their hand and I'm at 3 life, it's probably they're probably not killing me because they have to get down to like 2-3 cards in hand just to make the attacks. So not to mention the fact that I could have a Boo Unison or some other negates or even a blocker. Just a super strong card. Not a Red Ribbon Army, but just an android, still very searchable. Just one of the best cards for the deck, best newer cards. Then we play 3, 14, 15. This is a pretty standard Gamma play. Discard, look at the top 5, add a unit, add specifically the Twins Unison or a Red Ribbon Army, 4 or less. Most of the cards are Red Ribbon Army. And then it's a 0/5 in your drop to work with your Twins Unison. I think it has an on-play effect or something. Yeah, it has a bomb. I've never once summoned this card, so that's really funny. I guess it has an effect on the field. For Floodgate 14, he looks like Kratos, so it always says. It's really funny, so we call it Kratos Negate. Really strong Floodgate. Obviously, 15k, 2 costs, weak to every counterplay that's ever existed. But again, you just have to be smart with your counterplays. Weak to Koitsukai. Got to be smart defensively. There are ways you can play the game around Koitsukai, around counterplays, and we'll get to that. But turn 2, if I'm going second against like Sin Shenron and they're gonna push my shit in, Floodgate. Now you got to do it smart. You don't do it on the first attack. You just do it on the 8-drop attack. So if your opponent is smart, they'll attack with everything else first and probably eat a D magic out of your hand, and then you'll Floodgate on the 8-drop. So it's just like a tit for tat. It's a push and a pull. Your opponent has to play smart around your floodgates, and you have to play your floodgates smart. But anyway, 4 of, because again you can charge it. It's searchable. Just always a great card. And when it sticks, they have to bottom deck 2 cards, which is just way too much. Like Topo, right? It's almost impossible to swing through a Topo if that Topo is played smart. For the super combos, we have 3, 8, and 1 drive-by. Drive-by is when you combo it on your opponent's turn, you untap a multicolor energy. I play one of this specifically for Android 18 measureless strength. And I'll get to that card when we get to it, but that is it's like we call it like a battle trick where we're doing something during the combat step or the combo phase, whatever defensive combo, to kill your opponent's attackers, so you can kind of like trick them. It's basically Shigesh Kid Goku. If you know if you played play Shigesh, play Kid Goku, kill your attacker, battle's over. Thanks for shotgunning your whole hand. Obviously, people these days are much smarter against battle tricks, but the fact is, just a battle trick existing in your deck is strong. And then in the early game, this is still a great super combo. Like, let's say I'm again Sin Shinron turn 2, they're gonna push my shit in, so I'm gonna Floodgate, and then I'm gonna untap, and now I can D-Magic. So it's just really strong, but it's just a one up because I really want to draw. The draw is just too important. Gamma just doesn't have that many cards in hand. I know we've seen Bionic Blitz, we've seen like Drive By. I don't even know what this thing's real name is. Team of Attack. But the fact is, the draw super combo is still just very important. And of course, it's an Android, which is why we're playing the Android 8. And here we have, I'll get these out of the way. Here we have our searcher androids. We have 417 and 218. So they have the exact same effect. For one, you can play it from your energy. Your leader then replaces the energy, and then you look at the top 5, put an android from that top 5 into your energy, shuffle one of your energy back, and then you get a 15k body. This one has barrier. This one has critical. Barrier is just slightly a better keyword. Stronger against. Now they don't have deflect, but here's how I'll tell you. Like, the way you play around deflect is you just go, okay, activate 17. Do you have a response in counter window 1? If your opponent says yes, you just choose not to play it. So the actual effect says you may play this card. So you pay 1, and then if your opponent, let's say they do Tyrannical Blow to counterplay, you go, okay, I choose not to play it. That way you don't have to lose an energy. That's just one example. Any counterplay that applies to. And so yeah, but 18 is cool. Having an early game crit is strong, but just the barrier is just makes this very sticky. It's this card sticks on the. I've had a lot of games where I'll play this on turn 2 or 3, and then it'll stay the rest of the game, which just doesn't happen with 18 just because she doesn't have barrier. Now again, early game crit is very strong. Combine this with the Unison, and you're attacking for 20k crits. Very good in the early game, not too good in the late game when the floodgates are into play. But like turn 3, swing, 20k crit, they're probably going to take it, or they're going to waste a negate on it, which is fine with me. Oh yeah, and you want to play a lot of these now because they search every android in your deck. Doesn't matter the level. The only androids they don't search are mono green. It has to be blue. So it doesn't search your perfect force, which we'll get to, but it searches blue greens. So this gets negates, super combos, floodgates, counterplays, secret rare, sell. It doesn't matter. This gets everything. So like you just want to play these as often as possible to dig for the best cards in your deck. Huge consistency card. We're playing 2 Gohan. Gohan is a super strong floodgate. If your leader's a superhero, you combo with it. You pay 1, play it like a war cry, and then you pay 1, put it in the drop. Your opponent cannot attack with battle cards unless they bottom deck a 2 or less. That 2 or less is so specific and so hard to get. They can't select cards with barrier, and they can't select Z battle cards because putting it on the bottom is a cost. So the only problem with this guy is he's not an android. You can't really charge him. You can't search him. You can't play him on your opponent's turn because of your leader effect. The only problem with this guy is he's not an android. He is extremely powerful. He's a great floodgate in the late game because he's proactive, right? Let's take Almighty Resistance, for example, right? If I am playing against Sin, right, they can't Almighty Gohan. They could counterplay Gohan with a counterplay card, but they cannot Almighty Gohan. Now, and let's take like Tyrannical Blow, for example. It's my turn. I go swing with lead, combo Gohan, pay 1, play Gohan. They Tyrannical Blow my Gohan. Okay, I still untap 3, not really untap, but I still pick up 3 energy and put 3 down in the end phase. And now I have my Floodgate to back up Gohan. Maybe they don't have their second or third Tyrannical Blow, right? So The cool thing about Gohan is he's a proactive Floodgate, meaning I am not putting myself in a risky position by playing him. A lot of the time he's free. I can just play him. If they counterplay him, okay, that's not a big deal. I still have my other Floodgate. You know what I'm saying? But then he's also weak to stuff like Yamcha, Gohan, defeating the demon, charismatic villain Frieza. He's weak to a different form of counterplay than your counterattack Floodgates, basically. But he's super strong. He's just not an android. If this card was an android, I would probably be running forward, just because that Floodgate ability is just insanely strong. For Battle Begin, this card is extremely strong against something like 21, against Beerus. Um, those decks, and then there's other decks too, like just having a counterplay. This is available as early as your second turn. You play your Unison, awaken, untap one. Now I have one up for a counterplay. That's good against Trunks Jita because you can counterplay their Trunks. It's just having access to a really strong counterplay. This is a 4 or less counterplay, good against 21. Most of the stuff they play is 4. And 21 also has the ramp card that doesn't have deflect. So very strong. It's just you play for it because you want to see this in a lot of matchups as early as possible. And by seeing this as early as possible, you just guarantee like a better tempo for you. It's a 15k blocker. You can also attack with it. Just an extremely strong body. And of course, the best part about this deck is I can always just charge these. If I'm at 6 life and my opponent's not dealing damage, I can charge my super combos. If I don't see a Unison, I can charge my 18 and then I can pick it back up whenever it's available. That's one of the strongest things about this deck is you can just allocate your resources wherever you need them. Is this good in energy? Is it good in hand? Okay, I'll pick and choose when and where I want these cards. 4 of the twins. So there's actually a ton of multicolors without energy exhaust. So this used to be the only one. Now it's just one of 3. But it's really good. So there's some mono green cards we play. We want to guarantee we have energy for, and so I am still playing 4. But you can also play this card from hand. Let's say I have the Android 18 measureless, right? That card doesn't have energy exhaust. I can actually charge that and then play this from hand against, let's say, like Sin Shenron, and bottom deck your 8 drop, bottom deck your 4 drop, anything, right? So on play when this card is played. Excuse me. When it is played, bottom deck one of your opponent's battle cards with equal to or more than their current energy. That equal to is very important because that means if they have 4 energy, I can still hit a 4 drop. Very relevant against 21. Yeah, I can just play this from hand, which is why I'm still playing 4, because it's a removal spell, and then it's a 20k dual attacker, which is just a really strong attacker. So we can charge this, play it from energy, or I could charge something else and play it from hand to get some pressure off of the board, basically. So very strong choice, very strong card. I like 4 for that exact reason. The fact that I can pay 2 to play it from hand and still get its effect is just really important because there's a lot of removal that we need in the game. You need a lot of removal in Gamma right now. 2 full power counter. This card is one of the new. It's the only 21 card we play, other than the secret rare. Spoiler alert. But holy shit, this card is insane. And I'll tell you, there's 2 different reasons why it's good. So it's a counter attack. It doesn't actually negate the attack, but you counter attack. You play it. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and bottom deck it. And then they cannot attack for the rest of the turn unless they bottom deck a card from their hand and their Z energy. So this is actually an in the turn Floodgate. Z energy is such a limited resource that unless you're playing like a mirror match or like fucking launch, I guess, like Sin Shenron even like doesn't really have that much Z energy outside of their paws, and they need 7 Z energy to Z awaken. So it's not like they have a shit ton of Z energy to just throw away into this card. Also remove something, ignoring barrier, and very strong. So the reason this card is good is because it's a 4 cost. It is a 25k, and it's a counter attack, right? So this gets around most most like Floodgate counters, right? Stuff like the Vegeta Resolve Renewed, Tyrannical Blow, Desperate Measures. This gets around most of them. Even this gets around Koitsukai as well, because Koitsukai is only 20 or less, is 25. There are still ones that get this. I know God Slicing Kamehameha is a good one, because that's 4 or less. The Almighty Resistance is a counter. It's not a counter play. So, but this just is safety against most of those cards. So really strong defensively for a lot of reasons. However, that is simply an on play auto. So if it is my turn, I can just play this and bottom deck one of your cards, ignoring barrier, and then I have a 25k double strike body. Oh yeah, also this card doesn't have energy exhaust, so I always charge it. Like I said, I can allocate the resource to where I want it, so I can put it in my energy and then pick it up when I'm ready to use it. Very strong card. The cool thing about this is it's a defensive, offensive card. It's very much versatile. It's barrier removal, it's energy. This is one of the most versatile cards in the deck. But we only play two because it's very slow. Paying 4 energy for a counter is slow. It's not fast enough for me to want to play more because I already have a shit ton of multicolor energy that doesn't have energy exhaust. And I'm not really playing this until turns 5 and 6, which we will get to. Don't worry. I'm going to turn 6 and 7 in this deck, but I'm not really playing this until turn 5 or 6, which means 2 is probably enough to see it, if that makes sense. Um, but just super versatile card. Um, we have the Android 18 measureless strength. This is a super versatile. So first effect doesn't have energy exhaust, which means I can just charge it if I want. Other effect, discard this card. Look at the top 5 cards of the deck. Add an android that cost 5 or less. Guess what's an android that cost 5 or less? Almost every single fucking card in the deck, except for like this whole stack, except for Gohan. Androids that cost 5 or less. It searches literally everything in your deck. So the reason we play 3 of this is because it's always useful. Usage number 1, I can always charge it. Usage number 2, I can discard it to look for something else. Usage number 3, arrival for 3. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards, bottom deck it. Choose one card in your opponent's hand, bottom deck it. This is the battle trick I was talking about. Your opponent goes, attack with my battle card, no negate, activate this, play this, bottom deck the attacker, and then get a card out of your hand. Also a 25k critical. And again, I can also just play this. If I don't have that many cards in hand, I can go tap 5, play 18, bottom deck one of your battle cards, take a card out of your hand, swing 25k crit. It's that easy. Like you can just do it. It's not that hard. Again, so this is an offensive. This is actually the most versatile card in the deck. It's good energy. It searches. It's an offensive play. It's a defensive play, and it just does everything. This card just does everything for this deck. So broken, really broken card. Not broken, but just solid. All right, we got 3 cell. Still the best boss monster ever printed, in my opinion. In a resource-based game, Cell is a cheat code for 4. You play him, bottom deck all of your opponent's battle cards, swing, dual attack, double strike. If they negate, they bottom deck a card in their hand. Too powerful, man. I mean, this card is just very, very strong. I don't know. Yeah, you can play this from your hand. You still have dual attack, double strike. You just don't get the bottom decking effect. I've never done that before, but I guess you could do that. Yeah, I don't know. This card is just too powerful, bro. I don't know. A lot of the times he doesn't need to attack. This card doesn't deal damage. It gets negated. Your opponent will Gohan, SGR Gohan, the blue one. They'll send it away. They'll bottom deck it somehow. They'll kill it on play. They'll dirty burst. This card doesn't need to deal damage. The reason you play this is because it clears everything. So against 21, it can be intimidating because the deck, it goes like, it'll go really, really fast. It'll go like play, and you're like, okay, I'm not really intimidated by your board because I'm just going to sell it away. And if you combine that with something like Krillin the Cunning, then okay, you can't untap your energy. You just played a bunch of shit. Okay, play sell. Oh, you dirty bursted. That's okay. I still cleared like 5 cards off of your board. So just a super strong card. Just insane card. Then we have our 2 secret rares. There, this deck actually plays 2 secret rares. 1 perfect force, old set 2 card. On play, it costs 7. You could evolve it for 6 on a cell, which funny. I've never done that, but that would be really funny. Auto, when this card is played, if your leader is an android, which it is, your opponent discards until they have 3 cards in hand. So there's a ton of matchups where you play this and win. It doesn't have the flex, so it was completely unplayable. It was not playable whatsoever, but now that God Sealing is gone, it's very playable. The only thing that really counterplays this is the Golden Avenger. If your opponent leaves 5 up for Golden Avenger, I just won't play this. I'll just play my 4 drop cell instead. But if they don't have 5 up for Golden Avenger, I'm just gonna play this. Discard down to 3. Okay, I've discarded anywhere from like 5, 6, 10. I think my opponent at one point had a 15 card hand, and I played this. And then he had 3 cards in hand, and I attacked and won. It's just like this is the cheat code. Discard your whole hand. Now I attack and win. Like that's it, right? And then we have the broken 21. So this card has a shit ton of effects. 40k, dual attack blocker. On play, select all of your opponent's battle cards in Unison's ignoring barrier. Put it under this. For every 2 cards selected, gain a life up to 2. Life heal is actually the most broken shit in the world. There's actually a ton of games that you're not supposed to be winning, and then you draw this and you win because you gain 2 life. And so it's like if you're in a position where not you clear the board and you gain 2 life. This is basically Vegeta's secret rare, the defensive version. So Vegeta's secret rare clears the entire board, is a triple striker, and deals a damage. This clears the entire board plus Unison, heals the damage, and then is a blocker. Or a dual attacker. So you could attack twice with this if you. There's some matchups where you do that, like against like in the really late game, if your opponent's at 1 life, I'd probably swing with this twice because it's huge. Like 40k is too much to out combo realistically. They're gonna have to negate it. Yeah, I mean, and then if she would be removed by a skill, you just put all the cards under her into the drop area. So they basically have to remove her twice, which is just it's hard to do sometimes. She also cost 8 on the field, so they can't just secret identity her. She would cost 8 because of her. She increases her battle. Oh no, I think I lied to you. She costs 4 on the field. Never mind, they can secret ID her, which is whatever, fine. Okay, she cost 8 in deck, which is that's what I meant to say. The cool thing about her is because she's a blue android, she's blue green, right? These dudes search her. So you play these a lot because you're looking for this, and the more you see this, the more games you're gonna win. So this is an insanely strong secret rare. Um, we got a playset of booze, which is 1. Still just really strong, limited to 1, but if you the games you see it, it feels good. The problem with booze sometimes is that a lot of the times Gamma's on the back foot, and it's like my opponent might have like 5 or 6 battle cards, and I really need to clear them. So I might not have time to play the boo because Gamma, in actuality, at least the way I play it, is it's a slow deck. It's almost like baby in a sense now, where I'm playing so many floodgates that if 1 or 2 of my floodgates fumble, then I might die. So I very much need to play some type of removal instead of boo. However, the games where that are slow, the games where I'm already ahead and I can just boo, I'm fucking golden. Like the boo is just so crazy for resource for defense. It's insane. For twins, I still think twins is like it's my favorite unison in the entire game. Crazy strong. God, I don't know. I mean, again, some of these cards are old. Like we've been playing against this card for I want to say a year and a half now. I feel like you should know like the power of this card, but if you don't, every turn you get a free combo. This is a Z Energy Factory. You pretty much never if this survives, you're never not gonna have Z Energy. And I can slam this on 2 against 90% of the decks. Realistically, the only decks that can kill it are like Sin Shenron and Gogeta. However, obviously Black Smoke exists, so technically every deck can kill it. You want to just play it when you're ready to awaken. If I want to awaken on 2, I can do that. If I want to awaken on 3, I can do that. Just make sure you don't lose to a Black Smoke. If I play this and it dies before I awaken, then I might just lose because now I can't awaken. My opponent's going to play a bunch of shit and I can't do anything about it. So just be smart with the way you play this. Just remember Black Smoke exists now. And like if this gets Black Smoked, it's possible that you lose. So just don't play this into a Black Smoke, basically. Yeah, and then the neg 4 becomes a dual attack 25k. That shit is becoming like less and less relevant because people will attack this, people will remove it with Black Smoke. Just the auto of the Z factory, the Z Energy factory is crazy. Basically, my entire Z deck is available to me at all points in the game because of this card. It just gives me free Z Energy every single turn. It's very nice. And then yeah, your leader awakens when you have a 2 cost unison. So you need this to awaken. So very strong. The extra card lineup: 3D Magic, 2 Dirty Burst, 2 Beerus. So we play the most D Magic because it's the most effective early game. Against, like I said, against Sin Shinron, you actually need to see D Magic early game. Dirty Burst, you don't need until like turn four, right? Obviously, it's good against 8 drop Sin, good against 8 drop Gogeta, good against. It's Dirty Burst, bro. We know the card's good. It's good in the mirror, it's good against 21. Like, it's a great card, but it's just a little it's a mid game card, whereas this is an early game card. Even these are early game cards. This is good against Nova. This is good against like Saiyan Kaba, shit like that. Just get your little dude out of here while defending my life. This is an early game card, which is why we play three, because we need to see this. Whereas Dirty Burst, we do need it. Don't get me wrong. I do want to Dirty Burst an 8 drop Shinron and Omega, but I don't. I probably can't even afford to do that until turn four anyway. So I don't need to see this until turn four. And then, of course, against Gogeta, we want to see as many as possible, so we side deck more. And we'll get into the side deck now. Beerus Ball is just, it was just like a little, it's like a mini pseudo combo. It's removal. I can use it offensively. Again, this deck is extremely versatile, so I can use this defensively or offensively to clear a card. Just extremely versatile card. Um, we'll go through the side. The Dende is pretty much just for the mirror match. Ramp exists, and maybe I would side this in. Again, the problem against like 21 and Beerus is that Beerus ramps so much because they're ramping four at a time that hitting one probably doesn't matter. And 21 is just very fast. So they're playing a lot of like cards against you. So again, I probably need to clear the board with this or with Cell. Um, I probably need to clear the board. But it's an option against those as well. And then this is really for the mirror match. This card is extremely strong in the mirror because you just hit whatever the problem. If they have a cell in their energy, you just hit their cell. Just a good card. Basically, like in the mirror, you go swing lead, they floodgate, you play Dende on the turn, they floodgate you. It's just that that simple. Um, the Krillin the Cunning, this is for probably Beerus in 21. So the 8 drop 21 untaps 5. Beerus is probably playing Kaioken Secret Rare. If there was another deck that untapped, I would consider this. Those are like the two right now. This is really strong against 21, basically. And again, I said 21 is a very hard matchup without your sideboard cards. So you're going to be sideboarding a lot of cards. Excuse me. To Makekabura, this is a just like a filler card. This could be something else, but it has plenty of good matchups. So against like Gogeta GT, you call Gogeta 8, Gogeta GT 8, you could call against ramp decks, you can call Vegeta GT6 to hit the Ultimate Warrior, the ramping card. You can call 21-4, and that turns off like almost their entire deck. Almost, not really, but almost. So it's just a card. If I have a card I don't want to play against the next turn, I can just play this. Okay, now you can't play that card. Even in the mirror match, I could play it and go sell 9. Now you can't sell 9 me, so you can't clear my board. So just a card that if there's something I don't want to deal with, I can just mechie it away. I could call Turning the Tide, Android 17 7. You know, just any card I don't want to see, I can just not have to deal with it now. Kamehameha Deflection. This card is insane. Counter attack, limit 1, negate the attack, and then KO one of your opponent's 4 cost or less. So this is obviously an anti-aggro card. Just super strong anti-aggro tool. I mean, you get to negate an attack and kill something. I really like this against Sin because you can kill their Dread Destroyer or their new blocker. If they give their Dread Destroyer barrier, that's fine. You can just hit their blocker. That blocker is a very annoying card. You can hit Gohan defeating the demon. You can hit the new Broly. Just a super strong card against aggro. The only reason we're playing 2 instead of 3 is it's mono green and it's limit 1. We could probably slide a third one in here. I just don't want to see too many in my opening hand because it's limit 1. The third Dirty Burst. This is for the decks where you have to draw a Dirty Burst. So like Gogeta GT, maybe Beerus. Depends on if I'm afraid of like turning the tide. Depends on how the game goes. But like against 21, you could side this in over like Beerus Ball. Or I mean, Beerus Destroy is not Beerus Ball because the 8 drop's really powerful. So you could side this in against that. Desperate Measures. This is a very versatile card. So again, I know I'm talking about Beerus and 21 a lot in the sideboard, right? You can see that pattern because those are very good against Gamma if you let them do what they do. Um, without stopping them. So this Beerus and 21 both ramp from the Z deck while they don't have deflect. So the 2 cost 21 Z card and the Beerus, the Whis 2 cost, they don't have deflect. You just desperate measures it back and they don't get to ramp. So this slows them down a little bit. Against Yellow, Yellow is playing so many floodgates. They play shit, what am I drawing? Riposte and the new Vegito. So they play like 8 floodgates, maybe more. I know some of them are playing Oceanus too. So I can desperate measures their floodgate and then add my floodgate back to my hand. So the fact that I can recycle my 17s and my 14s with this card is also very strong. So um, just a really good sideboard tech option for those. And then 2-hit Unison. This is for the neg one. I actually unawaken my opponent's 21 leader, and that's the turn I'm going in for the kill. So if I unawaken my opponent's 21 leader, they can't use my cards as energy on either turn. So they're just in a very vulnerable position. You can play this, unawaken their shit, and then just swing with everything, you know. So it's just a good option, right? And so again, mostly if you look, it's a lot of 21 hate. Um, it's a lot of Beerus hate. It's because those I think are your hardest matchups. Again, there's like the hand destruction deck that I'm just not worried about. I don't really think it'll be popular. Decks like Gogeta, I don't think are. I think Gogeta loses to this, but I do have options against Gogeta. There are some mirror match techs. Like I said, Dende is really only for the mirror match. Um, and so you just Sin. I think I'm main. The thing about Sin is I'm actually just mainboarding all the answers. I'm mainboarding so many negates. The only thing I could really bring in would be more negates, right? Um, so yeah, I guess that's what that's about. You know what I mean? We can go through the Z deck really quick before we wrap this up. One Vegeta. So this actually is not really used for self awakening. This is used to put a Z card on the field to trigger your 17 extremely early. The most common play that you're gonna make with the um, and I'll just give you a little rundown real quick. Let me find a Unison. Let's say I have 3 energy. This is the most common turn 3 play you'll make in the entire game, right? The 17's in your energy. This guy is under here. Okay, so you'll go play Unison, discard this at some point, search. You'll go swing lead, draw a card, awaken. This combos into this, right? So now I will pay 1, pop my Z energy, play my Vegeta, use his effect. Now I have a Z battle card for my 17, and then I'll use my last energy to play 17 from life, and then I'll search. That's your most common turn 3 play. Obviously, a ton of decks can remove Vegeta. It's not like he has barrier or deflect or anything, but a lot of decks can't as well. So having my 17 auto as early as possible is very important. And so I always try to play this early game. And if they remove him, that's fine. That's not a big deal. He'll be replaced by a Beerus eventually. But early game, I want my auto online, so I'm going to play this as often as possible early game. Double Beerus, it's one of the most versatile Z battle cards. Um, I don't know. There's not much to say about Beerus. He's insane. He has so many fucking effects and they're all good. One stronger together. If your opponent has 10 or more cards in hand, shuffle down to 10. That's good against 21. It's good against Gogeta GT. They usually have 13 plus cards. The most I've ever gotten off this guy was 5, which was crazy. You just play it and your opponent discards 5 cards. Super worth, right? His second effect, activate main. If you have a battle card with 2 names on it, it gets plus 10 and triple strike. I've done that before. It doesn't come up often, but it's a nice little side effect where I can play this, pop this. This now is triple strike. It's just nice. Um, One Jaren, this card eats unisons. You can, when you play him, you select him. He can't be removed by effects. Um, and then you drop Z energy to knock the markers off of Unison. If you drop 2 or more, this card gains double strike. Really good at killing Boo Unison. Really good at killing every Unison. There have been games where I've played this and then just dropped 4 Z energy to just kill a Unison and then attack life. You know, it's just really, really easy that way. One cell, more board clear. Maybe I don't have a cell, energy cell, so I need to grab one from the Z deck. He also cost 1 less, so I could play him a little bit early game. Funny thing is, you can evolve Perfect Force onto this cell. I've never done it before. I probably never will. But I thought that was funny. And then one Vegito. This is an on-demand triple strike. You never know when you're going to need a triple strike to go for a game. Also, his effect is really good in grind games. The fact that he has barrier at the end of the turn, you untap him, bottom deck one of your opponent's battle cards, and bottom deck a card from their hand. He does have blocker, but you cannot use it with if you use your leader effect because he's not an android. So don't count on him blocking because he can't. But his other effects are still relevant to the point where in a grind game, this card is just going to eat your opponent's hand away. If they don't have a barrier answer, he's going to stick on the field and just eat them away super crazy. All right, so that was a very in-depth Gamma profile. I know I've posted Gamma profiles before, but this one was me trying to explain all of my thought processes and my choice in the deck. I'm gonna go on my side quest. I'm gonna go build an oil pipeline for a couple weeks, and then I'll be back to play more Dragon Ball, and I'm very excited. Shout out to let me do quick. The Hill Twins are having a tournament um, the 29th of April in the New York area, where the first place is a silver Goku Vegeta Goku Frieza secret rare. I really wish I could go to that, but like I said, when duty calls, it is what it is. The the next regional I think is MomoCon in Atlanta, Georgia, and I will be at that. I'm going to be playing Gamma, probably a very similar build. Might change some of the sideboard, might change a couple tech cards. But other than that, thanks for watching. I very much plan when once I get back, I plan on doing more content again. I got that competitive itch a little bit, so I'm ready to start playing more Dragon Ball and doing more Dragon Ball content. Other than that, thank you for watching. Have a good day.